officially live. You're live on
There you are.
Facebook. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Yay. All right, we have intro music.
Who is it? What is it?
Montgomery Gentry.
There we go.
Ready? All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 425 Show, your place to be for all things real estate and lifestyle related here on the East Side. I'm your guest, Nicole Mangina with Windermere Real Estate. I'm a practicing agent here on the East Side, so we are going to talk a little bit more about the market today because it feels like that is time. We've got a phenomenal guest with us today, Sean Rimkus from Fairway Mortgage. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yay! But before we get started, we have a very important guest request. Ted Nugent. See, I want you to know we listen to all our comments, and here you go. Here's a little Ted Nugent for you, John Evans.
There you go.
Woohoo! All right. I don't know if you can totally hear that on Facebook, but it's on.
He's on there.
And we're back. All right, John Evans, who loves you? All right, back to the market. It's different out there, right?
Completely. I mean, from 6 months ago, it's like turned on its head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's, I wanted to have you on here, Sean, because you talk about reverse mortgages. That's your specialty, and I think that's something a lot of people don't know a lot about. So I'm excited to dive into that today. But I wanted to do a little kind of just market overview because, I know what we're seeing as agents in the market, but I'm always interested to see, what's, as lenders, how are those conversations going with your buyers? What are you seeing? I feel like there's a little bit of wait and see out there for some buyers.
Yeah.
And then there's others that are willing to jump in.
Yeah. Well, from the spring when you could not get in to see an open house, when there'd be 5, 6, 7 couples deep.
Right.
To look at a house, and it was really intimidating for most buyers, right? And so I think that quite a few got discouraged, and they saw the escalations going up and up and up, and you can only make so many offers on a house before you just kind of want to leave the market a little bit, and so now it's completely flipped around where there's not multiple offers on each house, and they're not escalating. But the problem is we got to get those people that we had TBDs on before to get them back in the market a little bit more.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so when one of our customers goes out shopping on a weekend, we know they're probably going to have an offer accepted, and that gets us excited, right? But again, it's we got to get them back out there and looking, because now it's a buyer's market.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was looking at the stats yesterday. It looks like we have about a 3-month supply of inventory, which is more of a balanced market. I think it feels like a buyer's market for sure right now. But it's it's balanced. Things are still selling. When I pull up our multiple listing service every day, it's got a little stat on there, and it shows me how many new listings and how many sales. There's still a lot of sales happening.
Oh yeah, no,
so,
the market's still going. I mean, it's still volume size isn't bad.
Yes,
it's the attitude that is still lingering around from a lot of the buyers. Especially the first-time home buyers that got priced out of stuff.
Right.
We got to make sure that we can get them back into the game, and now that it's settled down a little bit.
Yeah, I think as things shake out, we'll see those first-time home buyers. I'm also very curious to see what happens with the move-up market, because I think there are so many buyers who did want to move up but just couldn't, right? Because all their equity, which is pretty common, was in their current property. They couldn't afford to come in non-contingent, but also weren't willing to go, sell and then do interim housing somewhere.
Yeah, and it's
they didn't know how long
it's a good time. I mean, this market is probably the single best market in the United States.
Yes. And
the prices are going up, so a lot of people are getting that equity.
Yeah.
And they can take advantage of it and really put it to use. So
exactly.
Yeah, now it's a good time for them.
For sure. And it is nice because buyers, they get a little bit more time to think about things.
Yes.
And I'm noticing that with my listings when they're selling, they're still selling, but it's just taking a little bit longer. The buyers, they actually want to sleep on it now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
but,
they don't have to just run out and make an offer and cross their fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
So it's good stuff. Well, let's chat about reverse mortgages.
Sure. Fantastic.
Yes. So what is a reverse mortgage?
Well,
I don't know that a lot of people really know. They've heard the term, but maybe they don't really know what it is.
Yeah, reverse mortgage is now, since the changes that they've really made as recently as 2017, October of 2017, reverse mortgages are now what I would say more of a financial tool.
Okay.
And they're really, believe it or not, I would say it's great that I'm selling reverse mortgages, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, it really should be done by financial advisors, because that's how you're going to take advantage of this tool. It's a wonderful tool. It can create a lot of cash flow for retirees. They can pay less taxes if it's deployed properly, and they can increase their legacy for their children if it's done properly.
All right.
And up until recently all of the reverse mortgages were really for people who needed them. They were behind on their mortgage payment, maybe they were behind on their taxes.
Got it.
They were running out of money, but they had equity. And so they ran out and got a reverse mortgage to kind of solve that immediate problem. But they didn't really deploy it with a financial advisor on how to take advantage of it, not just this year, next year, and all the way through retirement.
Right.
And so they completely revamped it.
Okay.
It's kind of like reverse mortgage 2.0, I guess.
Okay.
But what the result of that is the volume's dropped in half, because now there's financial assessment where we actually have to make sure that the people have got decent credit, that they can actually make the payments on their taxes and have an upkeep in the property. And so they've made some revisions in there to where it's not just anybody can get it. And
Right.
so the volume's dropped quite dramatically, but it's going to increase very dramatically over the years, because we got 10,000 baby boomers retiring a day.
Right.
A day for the next 20 years.
Wow.
Right. And so the way this new tool, the way the reverse mortgage is now, is if you're over 62 and you've got a mortgage payment, you really need to be looking at a reverse mortgage, and then work with a reverse mortgage as well as with a financial advisor.
Okay.
Because there's so many different tax advantages that you can deploy that will just save a ton of money for you.
Got it.
There's I ended up having to go to 3 days pretty intensive training for the reverse mortgages, and we have a national speaker and a guy that's been doing it for 20 years that works for Fairway Independent, and he brings in guys like Wade Pfau, who's a PhD, and that have written lots of books. Jamie Hopkins from American University written lots of books about how to deploy this, and they have changed their tune completely with this new rollout of reverse mortgages. It has to be something that we think about for our retirees.
Got it.
Because there's a little over $6 billion in seniors' equity.
Wow.
That's more than the IRAs. But everybody borrows from the IRAs and lives off of, but then they leave their equity sitting on the sidelines doing nothing.
Got it.
For them. And so this new tool, the way they've redone the reverse mortgages, is they've really made it a very attractive financial tool.
Okay. So I'm probably oversimplifying this. Why would somebody do a reverse mortgage versus like going to get a line of credit, right? They need access to cash.
Sure.
Let's just go get a line of
Single
credit.
biggest expense.
What's the difference?
Single biggest expense for retirees is our mortgage payment.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
That's the hardest thing to manage for them. Because guess what? You have to make your mortgage payment.
Right.
No matter what. And so if you're going into your retirement years and you still have a mortgage payment, that's going to eat up most of your savings that you use on a monthly cash flow.
Got it.
Well, that just takes that right off the board.
Okay.
Right? So what you end up doing is using your equity to make the payment on the remainder.
Got
and then
it.
you take that cash flow and work with your financial advisor. Look at if you're worried about your legacy, for instance, look
Got
at
it.
life insurance.
Okay.
Look at the life insurance with long-term care.
Okay.
Right? Those kind of things will really set you up for the something that happens in the future.
Okay.
And as far as the tax implications, you've got your RMDs that you have to start taking out so the government can get their taxes at which 70 off your
What's an RMD?
It's minimum distribution
Okay.
of your IRAs and things
Oh,
like that.
got it. Okay.
Required minimum distribution. And so the IRS wants to get their taxes, right?
Right.
So you take your money out of your IRA at age 70 and a half, you got to pay taxes on that.
Okay.
Well, there's a way to be able to borrow it against your home equity to make those payments, so you're doing it tax free.
Got it.
Right, and so you'd want to
Fascinating.
work
Okay.
with your financial advisor on that.
Okay.
But yeah, and I'm not allowed to give financial advice because I'm just a loan officer. But that's why I always marry these up with financial advisors.
Right. And I'm assuming you have some financial
Yes,
advisors you
fantastic.
partner with,
Yes.
so if somebody
That
came
get
to
it,
you,
know
you
it.
could
Yeah,
make sure
absolutely.
they were fully.
Yep.
Because I'm assuming also not all financial advisors are fully prepped on
No, not at all.
what reverse mortgages
No,
are
and
all about.
that's changing, and that's why I'm so excited about this program.
That's
It is
great.
literally going to have to change because we're going to run out of money.
Yeah.
The baby boomers in America are not going to be able to survive with the expected life expectancies going up.
Right.
There's got to be something that has to fill that void.
Right. And do you see people whose maybe their homes are actually paid off, they don't have a mortgage, and then they come and get reverse mortgages? Does that still apply?
Yeah, because there's a line of credit that grows. So let's say you take out a reverse mortgage, you have a $600,000 house, and you take out a $240,000 reverse mortgage equity line.
Okay.
That equity line will grow over time.
Okay.
But you can tap that equity line at any time that you need it,
Got it.
and it's tax free.
Okay.
So
wow.
yeah. So even let's say you took nothing out, and you live to be 90, and it could well exceed the value of your house.
Okay.
You could take out one day $500,000.
All right.
And you're never gonna have to pay that back.
Okay.
So that's kind of the neat thing about it is there's a reserve there for you that you can tap into at any time.
Okay.
And so again, that's just there's just a lot of tools that they baked into it, and they've also taken out all the risk, all the things that
Yeah, we talked about that
Yeah.
before the show. Reverse mortgages have gotten some bad press
They have.
in the past.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that they've taken out or changed?
The big thing that really got some bad press was the say husband and wife get on a reverse mortgage, and the husband is only one on the loan, and he happens to pass. And then, but that at that point, there's nobody else on the mortgage, and the mortgage has to be repaid. Well, what happens to the non-borrowing spouse?
Right.
What do? Okay, now she's homeless.
Right.
That happened, and they made a correction to that. They said,
Okay.
so now non-borrowing spouses can live in the house for as long as they'd like.
Okay.
So even though they take out the mortgage and the primary earner passes, she can still stay there for the rest of her life. That was a big one.
Yeah.
That was a big one. And then any equity that's left over goes to the heirs. You've got 1 year, basically. You've got 6 months, but you can get a couple extensions to sell the property.
Okay.
So if there is equity, it goes back to the family. The family can sell it and distribute that equity however they see fit.
Got it.
There's some other things like that have really taken away the sting of the bad reputation, I guess. That's
Yeah.
what I'd say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, and you were talking about that earlier before the show about how they could use the reverse mortgage kind of in their estate planning and things like that with the kids and stuff, or?
Well, I mean, it's the reverse mortgage on the estate planning. You would still want to go through probate and figure that all out. But
okay.
But the thing that most people, and I this is a bad term, but you can give your kids your inheritance with a warm hand or a cold hand.
Or after, yes, we did talk about that.
Yeah, and so basically what ends up happening is that if you start planning for their legacy while you're alive, then you can do things like a life insurance policy, for instance.
Okay.
You can do other things that you can help out with your children now versus waiting until until you pass. And today, people are living to 80. Well, their kids now are 60 or 55.
Right.
And so, do you want to kind of maybe work on getting them set up for themselves or their kids at a younger age?
Right. Okay.
So that's kind of what we were talking about before.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that you look at it so holistically, though. I mean, that's a big deal, right?
It's
really,
a change.
Yes,
and that's what it's complete change of how and that's what got me excited about it, because the financial advisors aren't selling it like they should yet. A lot of them are, but it's starting to catch on, and so that's where I'm getting really excited, because it's a product that we really need to change the way people retire in America.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's, especially in our area, the taxes are going up, all that kind of stuff.
And the purchase, the reverse for purchase, that's the part where, we should probably talk about, with you being an agent.
Yeah.
So
you can use a reverse mortgage to purchase a property?
For purchasing a property, and this is really big.
Oh, fascinating.
So you got somebody, let's say they're retiring, they've got a big house, they raise their children in it, and they've got a lot of equity. So somebody that sells a house for $700,000, for instance,
sure,
they want to downsize or move closer to the kids, which is predominantly what happens when people retire. Instead of buying a $500,000 house, and a lot of people my brother did something similar to this, take all that equity and pay down and buy the house outright for $500,000 because they don't want a mortgage payment.
Right.
Well, they don't have to do that. They could put down $240,000, $250,000,
okay,
and never make a mortgage payment, and take that other money that they would have used for the down payment,
got it,
and put that with their financial advisor.
Got it.
So you're basically getting a house at about 50% of the value.
Got it.
Right. So
because you're using the reverse mortgage of the other $250 to pay
right
for
a large down payment.
Right.
And that's it. That's your only thing.
So you will get less, because so let me make sure I'm wrapping my head around this thing. So you buy your house for $500,000. You put $250,000 down.
And that's it.
Yep. And then you get a reverse mortgage for the other $250, right?
No, the $250 is a reverse mortgage. That's it.
Oh.
Because a house is valued at $500,000. You put $250 in. That is what you're going to be drawing off of. So you're never going to have to make another mortgage payment on that house.
Got it.
So you're basically buying.
But wait, where does the other $250 come from? Because you need
you put it down.
Right, and then the other $250 is the reverse mortgage.
Is reverse mortgage, right?
Okay, right.
And so that's it. That's your only payment on that house.
Got it.
And so people can basically buy a house for 50%.
Okay.
You'll still get the equity when it goes up.
Got it.
Okay. And so and then you can still use the reverse mortgage to combat some tax implications in the future.
Got it. That's genius.
People were buying houses outright before, putting down $500,000 and then going out and getting a reverse later.
Right.
And so HUD just said, let's just do it all at once.
Streamline it,
yeah,
right?
Streamline it.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes sense. I know it's hard. For a lot of people, that whole plan of not having more is beautiful, right? I totally get it.
It's absolutely.
But sometimes it does create a cash flow crunch. Then down the road, when all your money's in your house.
Right. And just people say, well, I'll just get a home equity line of credit. Well, then you got to make that payment back. And if you don't make that payment back, you can be foreclosed on.
Right.
And if they cut it off, if we have another financial collapse, they cut off those equity lines.
Okay, so
This is a
there's
non-recourse loan.
Okay.
Which is really important.
Huge.
Non-recourse. So if you owe $700,000 and your house appraised for $500,000, no one's responsible for that.
Right.
The house is legally responsible to pay it back.
Right.
And if it's upside down like that, FHA insurance takes over.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. So yeah, non-recourse, right? That was something we all learned about in 2007 and 2008.
Yeah.
Newer people don't know about non-recourse, but hopefully they won't need to.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's fascinating. That makes sense. That kind of answers my question of why would you do that versus like a line of credit. I would imagine the interest rates might be a little bit better too. Sometimes those line of credit interest rates can be a little spendy.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close actually.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
For where you would get like a key bank versus a home equity line, it's going to be relatively in the same ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's really a neat and so I became a member of the FPA, and so I actually teach clock hour classes now. I got 3 different classes that I teach for financial advisors.
Oh, great! So you really are the go-to guy.
I'm going to be. If I'm not, yeah.
Sean has the answers. By the way, if you are interested in finding out more about reverse mortgages, we will have all of Sean's contact information on the website after the show, so people can track you down. You just go to NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Because I think there's a lot of people out there listening that are probably going to have some questions for you.
Oh, there's a ton of questions. It's a complicated product. It's simple in its basis, but you really do need to think of it holistically about how you would deploy it, not just get the mortgage and you're done with it. It needs to be integrated.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll make sure that we have that information on the website. Again, NicoleMangina.com/podcast. Also, if you have questions about the market, you can always shoot me an email, Nicole@NicoleMangina.com. I'm so glad you're here today talking about this.
Well, you sold me my very first house.
I know, we go way back.
Way back. That was like 18 years ago or something.
It was, I think so.
Yeah.
It was your first house.
My first house.
Vanessa, your lovely wife, was just your girlfriend at that point.
At the time.
So I've known you through many stages of life.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. You're a great agent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've done a couple houses together. Now you've got your beautiful boys and lots have changed.
6 and 9. Yeah.
Yes.
Just having a blast.
Yeah. In fact, I think Alex was a baby when it was when you sold your first place, not when you bought it, but when you sold.
When we bought it, because I dropped them. I dropped your child.
He dropped my child. It's all right.
Yeah.
Alex is fine.
Oh, good. doesn't have a twitch or anything, does he?
On him daily, right?
Yeah. No, he's got an Italian mom and an Irish dad. We got hard heads in our family.
I wasn't used to children at the time.
I know. You were like, wow, what do I do? But it was great.
Yes.
Alex survived. You bought a house.
Good.
Life was good.
Life's good.
And we're still friends all these years later. But you've been in the mortgage industry a long time.
27 years.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you have seen a lot. You are well versed in all of this.
And believe it or not, this reverse thing I'm super excited about. You would think, okay, I've got a product that went down by 50% this year. It has a kind of a hard reputation.
Yeah.
But I'm actually more excited about the reverses than I've been on any other product in a long, long time.
That's great. Very cool. And you guys are the full package because you do the reverse. Vanessa, your wife, who was our very first guest on the radio show several months ago.
She does all the forwards.
She does, she does all the purchases.
Yeah, it's a good team.
And you got it covered. So we'll send some people your way for sure.
Fantastic.
And now, because it's the 425 show, we have to talk about what's awesome about living in the 425. Are you from here?
Yeah.
That's
born
what I
and raised. Yeah.
Cool. So, what do you love most about the 425?
Well, I do. I love the state. Because I love Eastern Washington and I love Western Washington.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that we have a
That's right.
desert.
You guys have a place in Eastern Washington.
Yeah, we go to Eastern Washington every weekend. I was just there yesterday.
That's awesome.
And so we like it over there, and we have a blast. And we come over here, and it's so beautiful. The winters and they're a little bit long. They're a little bit too long for me. But no, I mean, as far as anywhere else I've been in the country, I wouldn't. Where else would you want to be?
Nowhere to live. Lots of places to visit, but I think this is hands down the best place.
It really is
to live.
Yeah, now we're going to start getting. I live up at Snoqualmie Ridge, and so we're going to start getting dustings of snow on the hills. And
you guys get that more than we do.
Yeah, we love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a good place to raise kids too.
Yeah.
Good schools, lots of fun opportunities for the kids.
And all the neighbors are great, and we're having a block party for Halloween and
that's
just,
good.
Fun stuff. And
yeah,
it's Kids Central for Halloween. Oh my gosh.
I can only imagine up there.
Yeah, it's great.
There's a lot to be said for communities like that though, where you've got everything there, and you guys.
We come home, and I don't know how many kids are in the house.
Yeah.
It's 4 or 5 other kids are in the house. We love it that way. They're just part of the fabric.
That's great, as it should be. What grade are your boys in?
Third and first.
Oh, so they're still into Halloween.
Oh, big time.
They're into it.
Oh,
yeah.
big time. Yeah, it's a big deal up at Snoqualmie Ridge. It's.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, if I didn't live in Snoqualmie Ridge, I would drive there and drop my kids off.
Really?
I'm not suggesting you do that, but I would totally do it because they can absolutely get so. I mean, it's a big event up there.
Yeah, my boys are a little bit older, but they're not ready to give it up because they're still all about the candy acquisition, right?
Oh yeah. I know you have to kind of push that aside.
Yeah.
But they know Dad will steal a lot of it, so.
Yeah. Our boys forget about it, which is nice.
Yeah. No, I
They
know.
put it in a cupboard and then they forget.
Yep.
And then I find it and I think I'm helping them, so I eat it all.
Oh yeah.
And which is not, I'm not helping anybody, but I still do it. Doing my mom part. I'm saving their teeth.
Yeah. My
their
kids
candy.
always go, what happened to all the M&Ms? And I'm like, it's like, that was Dad.
Is that your thing?
Yeah.
Peanut or no?
Oh yeah, I'll do.
Yeah.
all M&Ms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
doesn't
there you go.
matter,
M&Ms, that's your thing. I love it.
That's funny.
I like the peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
So what's your, what kind of sports, like what kind of activities do you do with your kids on the weekend? What's your favorite 4-2-5 thing to do with the kids on the weekend?
You know.
Well, you're not usually here.
We're not here
So
on the
day
weekends.
off, not at Eastern Washington.
Yeah, God, you know what? They just started doing this. What's it called? It's parkour. They just
Oh,
got
the
that-
kids
yeah,
love
they-
that.
Oh my gosh, they're just going crazy for it. you know?
Yes, they get to pretend they're American Ninja
Yes,
Warriors,
yeah.
and they do all of this crazy stuff.
Yeah, and so they just look.
Freestyle jumping.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I used to do freestyle walking in college. That was like the early form of it.
What
really?
is freestyle walking?
It's just another name.
It's like.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
But
No,
now
I thought it was like a
labeled it
thing.
parkour, so-
Oh yeah.
But those kids are like, I'm gonna say crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's some stuff that I've never seen, like jumping over cars and a building in between. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That's
The,
nuts.
the hardcore car.
The
Yeah.
No.
hardcore parkour
It's crazy.
kids
Yes.
are really amazing. Check out some clips on YouTube.
I think, yeah, I'll have to. I've heard about it, and then I think I was afraid to watch it because I was afraid my kids would want to do
Oh yeah.
it.
There's some serious stuff, but yeah, he
Really?
knows.
Yeah. So limited injuries so far. So
Yep.
we're
That's
we're
good.
happy with that.
Yeah, the injury thing.
Yeah.
I was laughing with Alex, actually, our oldest, the other day, because we made the decision our boys were not allowed to play football, right?
Oh, okay.
The whole point being
Yeah.
we didn't want them to get hurt.
Right.
Currently, Alex has 2 screws in his arm from playing basketball.
Oh,
He's
no.
got scars all over himself from like baseball. He's got all kinds of
Yeah.
injuries, like no head injuries, but
Oh, but
he probably should have just played football.
maybe safer. I don't know.
I think
I
so.
don't know.
He's broken his wrist a couple times.
my
We're
God.
like, whatever.
How
so
old is he now?
he's 14.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I know. He's in 9th grade.
Wow.
He's a giant.
Yeah.
So we keep buying him new clothes like every 6 weeks because he keeps growing out of them. Where's your favorite place to take Vanessa for date night?
You know, we do these staycations at the Westin, and we just. you
Oh,
know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, we just,
Downtown Bellevue?
yeah, we used to just. It seems kind of like we just hang around there in Lincoln Square, you know, and just kind of grab a restaurant, and then we just kind of we have
Yeah.
a lot of Westin points. We do a lot of.
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
I love doing that stuff. And
Yeah.
downtown Bellevue is so nice now.
That's great.
Years ago, I remember it was probably 20 years ago, somebody's like, well, what do you think of downtown Bellevue? Said, I think it's nice. I think it kind of is Palm Springs, right? Because it used to always roll up at 8 o'clock, right? Because all that stuff wasn't down there. Lincoln Square, right? And there's like tumbleweeds just going down
Yeah.
Bellevue Way. But now it's so different. It's so vibrant,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
There's
so many restaurants now.
restaurants
Oh,
and
everywhere.
apartments and condos and
Yeah.
hotels, and there's like legitimate nightlife in Bellevue.
Yeah,
We're
and
on the
it's packed,
map.
and it's packed.
It
which
is.
It's just really good.
I know. I'm always amazed when we go to those restaurants. There's a lot of them, and they are often very, very full.
Yeah.
So there's some good stuff over there. I was at the Lake House not too long ago,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is right next
Right
to the West
there.
End.
Yep.
Really good food.
It's great.
Yeah.
No, we had appetizers there at one time, like about a month ago. I can't remember where we went after that, but yeah, it's a great spot.
Yeah. Did you guys check out Ascend yet?
No, that's what she
fancy
wants to.
steak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she wants to go there. It's the one with
Beautiful
the views,
view.
right? The views,
Beautiful
yeah. So
view.
that's on our list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
so,
worth a
Yeah,
good little dinner out.
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. And how long did you say you've been in mortgages?
27 years.
Long time. You've
Yeah.
been in lots of different aspects of it.
Yeah, I
over
was
the years.
a retail for a long time, then I was correspondent and wholesale for about 7-8 years,
Mm-hmm.
and been a branch manager for about 8 years.
Great.
So yeah, it's been a long career,
Yeah.
but it's still fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a blast.
That's what it's
so
all about.
It's all about,
If you're
yeah.
having fun, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, and thanks again for joining us today. If you want to get in touch with Sean, we will have his contact information on the website after the show, NicoleMangina.com/podcast. I've also got some awesome stats. One of the things I love about Windermere is we love our stats, which is great. So we'll have these on the website as well after the show. They kind of break it down by area, so you can see, you know, the number of homes sold this year versus last year, average price points, days on market. All of those things I think are really interesting to track, right? And see what they look like year over year. You know, I will say the interesting thing is the inventory has gone up for sure. I think that's a beautiful thing. But, you know, really for the last 5 years, we've been selling more houses every year with less inventory, right? Every year it happens. They're like, oh yeah, the sales went up, and the number of available houses was down from the year before, you know, which is great. I mean, that creates all that energy in the market, but you can only do that for so long. There is a point at which you just physically need more houses on the market. And I think we're finally there, which is great because there's some really phenomenal opportunities out there for buyers. There's still lots of sellers that are receiving offers on their property, but I think you got to bring your A game for sure. It's definitely something you want to know what you're doing. So we will have these stats on the website after the show. And thanks so much for joining us, Sean. It was fantastic to have you here today. So good to see you. Make it a great week, everybody, and we will see you next week. We've got another great guest coming up, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.
Cool. I'll leave on some